So I bring you greetings from the Center for Spiritual Living, Covina. I drive a lot. I was there with that beautiful spiritual community, and they send their love. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they send their love, and we had a great, great time there last week, and I told them I was going to be here with you today. They were excited for you. Not sure why. So it is in the name of love that I greet you as well, recognizing the beautiful life that is God expressing perfectly, individually, and unrepeatably as you. I'm glad that I got the chance to do that meditation because it just kind of really fits in with my talk today. It's your choice. From moment to moment, we're constantly faced with choices and decisions. Go into a supermarket and we're going to look for some cereal. And just when you thought you can go in and just pick one, or even if you knew you had one in mind that you wanted, and then you get to that cereal aisle, and there's all these choices. They have the sugary ones, the healthy ones, the one with fruit, the ones that are whole wheat or multi-grain, and just all kinds of stuff, the ones that taste like cardboard. And we get to make a choice. We pick a box off the shelf, put it in our basket, and we proceed to other choices and decisions. Or like the choice of which exit to get off on, because the place that you're going to is right in the middle of two exits. Like, do I go a little bit further and then just kind of backtrack a little bit because I can make a stop, or do I get off first and then make my way there? Or the choices that you made this morning in your wardrobe and what you would wear and how you would show up today. Is it a jeans day or a shorts day, or am I going to wear something really comfortable because spiritual living is really about comfort, or spiritual living is about dressing up and showing what you got, or spiritual living is just about showing up? Those choices that we get to make on a daily basis. And sometimes the choices are not so easy. Like when you're before your beloved and you're having a disagreement about where to go out on date night, or what to have for dinner tonight, or who's right about raising the kids or not. And do you know that at that particular moment, you have a choice? You have a choice as to whether you are going to be right and going to be taking your stand that this is the way it gets to be, or you have a choice as to whether you're going to fall into the love that is present, even though it doesn't appear to be present, and come from that place of love. You have a choice as to whether you are going to imagine yourself in your partner, in your lover, in your husband, in your wife, in your child, in your co-workers or your friends or the stranger's position. Are you going to step into their position or step into their shoes for a moment and allow yourself to see life through their eyes for that moment, so that you can make a better decision as to how you want to interact, how you want to show up? We have a choice. But so many times, I know it's true in my life, when that situation comes up, I forget that I have a choice. I forget. How many of you forget? It's so good not to be alone. We forget that we have a choice to come from the truth of who we are, to come from that place of love, to come from that place of peace, to come from that place of understanding our oneness. That when I am loving and kind to you, I'm really being loving and kind to myself. That when I am ugly with you, I am being ugly with me. Because the truth of the matter is that there is no other. There is simply the one. And I have called you in to this moment, in this time, in this place, so that I might recognize those areas in my life that need a little polishing. Those places that need a little more TLC. Because it is never really about the other person. It is always really a reflection of me and the areas within my life that I get to make some different choices. Those areas of my life that still need a little polishing. I'm always reminded when I think about polishing of the Buddhist tradition of chanting in front of the Gohonzon. Because the Gohonzon for them is simply, it's like a mirror. It is simply reflecting back. And in the act of chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, in the Buddhist tradition, they believe that as we chant that we're actually polishing the mirror, getting the smudges out. Because when there's smudges and there's dirt and there's grime, what happens is we see a distorted reflection of ourselves. Almost like being at the circus or at one of the adventure parks where the mirrors are distorted, and when we go, we see this long self, or this fat self, or whatever it is, right? But that when we polish the mirror, we're able to see our true reflection. We're reminded of the truth of who we are instead of seeing with the smudge, seeing with the distorted view. That when we're in that practice of remembering the truth of who we are, that we remember that the truth of who I am is the truth of who you are. Therefore, how could I ever not love you? How could I ever disrespect you? How could I ever think that you're anything less than whole? How could I ever flip you off on the freeway because you cut me off? Twice, yeah. Because I was so mad the first time that I caught up to you, and then you did it again. It reminds me of the parent and the child who are hiking in the mountains. And the young child falls and goes, "Oh!" And all of a sudden, the child hears back, "Oh!" And the child says, "Who is that?" And the voice replies, "Who is that?" And the child's getting frustrated and goes, "You're stupid." And the voice says back, "You're stupid." And by that time, the parent comes because the kid is kind of, what's going on here? And the parent tries to explain why, beloved, that's called an echo. An echo? Well, watch this. You're wonderful. You're wonderful, the voice says back. You're amazing. You're amazing. You see, beloved, it's your choice what you project out into the world. Because what you project and what you claim, just like the echo, it gives it right back to you. The echo, like life, is not going to give you anything other than what you put out. So it's not like the echo hears you say, I'm wonderful. And the echo's going to go, I don't think so. It's not the way it works. The echo gives back to you. It reflects back to you that which you're putting out. And that every moment being in choice as to where I come from, what I'm putting out, what is happening. At every moment, I am simply putting out, and the people in my life, you're like the echo. You have just made an agreement in consciousness to come before me to give me back that which I'm putting out. That which within me is calling forth an opportunity to shine more of, or to recognize those areas in my life where I get to grow, where I get to see that there's a little blemish, where I get to see that my vision is distorted, AKA those times when I forget. Those times when we all forget. I love the teachings of Ernest Holmes because they're just such a great reminder of the truth of who we are. In his book, It's Up to You, I was reading this the other day and I was like, wow, this is amazing stuff. I love this stuff. It just helps me move forward in life and just come from a place of love, and it reminds me of the truth of who I am. Therefore, it reminds me of the truth of who you are. He says here on page 63, that was a good year, by the way. We might as well proceed from this viewpoint. We are this moment in an infinite mind which presses against us, is in us, and is our mind. It is not only its own mind, but it's our mind, because we all are made out of it, and there is nothing out of which it could make us but itself. So in other words, I'm one with this power and presence. This thing we call God, this life itself, it is who and what I am. It is who and what we are, because life created out of itself, therefore, it can't make anything else other than life. It cannot be anything other than God. An apple seed does not produce a peach tree. It can only produce that of itself. That's exactly what it's saying here. That we are the way God, we are the way life is expressing, period. We are an infinite mind, and infinite mind is in us. That's what I was tapping into when we went into meditation. That infinite mind is in us. Okay? We're on the same page? It is by this mind that we think. This mind is eternal. Therefore, we are eternal. This mind is complete. Therefore, we are complete. This mind is substance. Therefore, we are one in essence with all the substance of the universe. We are literally one with all of the universe. The stuff that the stars are made out of, we find in the human body. We are one. We do not appear complete. As we incarnate, as we have this physical form with our eyes, because we forget, we do not appear complete. we act as if we're temporal, limited, unprepared, and afraid. We are not so foolish as to think that people do not suffer, because we see human suffering. We see that, right? So we're not that foolish that they do not experience want, that they are unhappy. But the potential I, the potential you, is just as perfect as inherent God. This is why the world would call us stupid, that we do not call this perfection into objective manifestation. Wow. We are the way God is expressing on planet Earth. And he's saying here, literally, if I gave you a check, if you won the lottery, I don't know what it was last night, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, and you got the check, he's saying, here's the check. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? What's your answer? What are you going to do with that check? Yeah, tell me. Share it. But first you got to cash it, deposit it, use it. Right? This is exactly what he's saying. He's saying, hello, everybody. You are the perfect and divine way that God is expressing on this planet. And even though it may appear that we are not complete, even though it may appear that we suffer, even though it appears that we're not eternal, the truth is that we are. We have that check. And the thing is that we're sitting on the check. We're like, oh, wow, look. I'm a multimillionaire. I'm a billionaire. I'm whatever. But you know what? I'm going to take this check and I'm going to sit it down right here and not use it. What sense does that make? That's exactly what he's saying here. We would be considered crazy not to bring it into manifestation. So right here, right now, I'm at choice. That if I am not experiencing what I want, if I am not experiencing the life that I want to live, it's my choice. Because I'm living by default. Somehow or another, I have fallen into this idea or this misbelief, this misinterpretation that I am a victim, that I have no control, that, oh, woe is me, life happens to me. And our teachings tell us that in the beginning there was God. And God created everything. The only thing God can create is out of itself. Therefore, that which is true of God is true of each of us. And we have the choice to create from this place. We are at choice in every moment, whether we want to forget that this is the truth of who we are and act as if we don't have that check sitting in our drawer, sitting on our nightstand or our table, or we can cash the check. We can deposit it. We can share it. We can use it as gifts for everyone. And isn't this the truth about our teaching? That the more I know that this is my truth, that I share this. I'm not stingy with my knowledge. I am generous with it. I try to share this knowing with as many people as I possibly can that right where you are, God is. That you are the unique and divine expression of the Most High. You know, a lot of people have various names and last names, like when there were like 2 Johns in the room, or 2 Peters, or 2 Janes. But the way to differentiate one from the other would be like, oh, there's Robert, John's son. Robert Johnson, right? Robert Peter's son. So that's Robert Peter's son. Well, what's your name, beloved? Ginger. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ginger God. Maggie God. John God. Patrick God. Greg God. Sunshine God. That our name is God. That's our last name. But we forget. We just think that, that we're lawyers or doctors or ministers or practitioners or teachers or parents or grandparents. And we forget that we are the unique and divine way that God is expressing on this planet. So in each and every moment, we are at choice. We are at choice as to whether we want to act like we forgot that this is the truth of who we are, or whether we want to step into that choice. And one of the things that I do on a regular basis is when I forget, I do a lot like what John did this morning in our meditation. I ask myself, what thought or feeling was so powerful that it could possibly take me away from the love that I am, the joy that I am, the peace that I am? Especially in those moments of tension with my beloved or with people whom I care and love, which is really everybody. When I want to be right, like what is it in me that moves me away from and snatches me away from being pure love at that moment and just kind of going, I wonder what so-and-so is experiencing right now. Or, wow, I really want to understand why he thinks the way he thinks and why this is important to him. When I am other than in that place of love and peace and joy, I want to know what it is that snatches me away, that rips me out of that present moment of joy and peace and abundance. When I'm in that place of, I don't have enough, or I'm believing in lack and limitation, I want to know what that thought is that rips me away from that so that I might return to the truth, so that I might dispel that lie. We're in a recession, or, the gas prices are going up, so you don't want to drive all the way out to Simi Valley. I want to know what that lie is so that I might dispel it into the nothingness from which it came, that I might recognize the truth of who I am. And that's why I constantly keep tools around me that help me, that remind me of that truth. One of those tools is like my prayer beads that I either wear around my neck or that I wear on my wrist. And sure enough, when I get in that funky, sticky, ugly place, there's 108 on here. And I begin to just get into this cascade of appreciation. When we're in lack or limitation, begin to just go into this cascade of appreciation for, a car, a home. And begin to just go through each bead. There's 108. So by the time I'm even at 20, my whole mindset has changed. But I continue all the way on to 108. So that I might anchor in a different knowing, which is that knowing of the truth. That when those stinking thinking opportunities come up, that my choice is love, that my choice is abundance, that I get to really see and tap into the truth of who I am. When I want to be argumentative with someone, I pause and I start again. Start with one, and I begin to really see the love that this person is before me, recognizing that their intention is simply to be love as well, even though it may not appear that way, and that my intention is to love, and that obviously there's something important for this individual before me that they want to get me to understand. And so I genuinely and generously, and sometimes it's a little bit of a fuss and a fight, I genuinely try to listen with ears of understanding. And how grateful I am that other people get to understand me, or that sometimes when I'm not being my best self, that I have the fortune of having loving people in my life that get me and go, it's okay. And I begin to use this as a tool to recognize the truth of who I am. You know, back in the day before there were even beads, I know my Jewish brothers and sisters, on their scarves that they would have during their prayer time, there's knots. And they would take each knot and they'd be in prayer over each knot. And even before there were knots on garments, you can use the spaces and the lines on the digits of your finger. When you find yourself going off the deep end and you need to remind yourself of the truth, you just start at each section and remind yourself, get into this cascade of appreciation for that which you are, for that which is in your life. And you just begin and you use each little section of your finger. Whatever it is that you are guided to use as a tool to bring you back to the truth, do that. If you want to count and do it with every little hair on your head, for some of you it's going to be a lot longer, for some a little less. But I imagine that whatever it is that we need, we have. But reminding us that it's your choice. It's your choice to create the life that you crave, to create the life that you've dreamed of. It is your choice in each and every moment to stop and to recognize the truth of who you are, and then to move boldly into the world from that place of love, from that place of power, from that place of abundance, from that place of joy, from that place of peace, from that place of clarity. And it is always our choice to go back into prayer, meditation, affirmation, to remind us of our truth, so that we will always come from that place that is not only for our highest good, but indeed for the highest good of humanity. Let's go into prayer. What I believe is that there is God and nothing else. Nothing else. It is an impossibility for there to be anything else other than God. For as we believe and as we proclaim and as we call forth that in the beginning there was God, and God created everything out of itself. Therefore, everything is the unique and divine, perfect expression of the Most High. And that which is true of God is true of each of us, for that is our name. That is our last name. So we are indeed one. We are one. Knowing that there is this peace, this power, this joy that God is, that we are, we simply surrender to that truth right now. And we allow this truth to have its way with us. We allow this truth of who we are to mold us, to take over. And to deepen our hearts and minds with its truth. that as we emerge from the surrender, that we are clear beyond the shadow of a doubt of our oneness, of our wholeness, of our peace, of our power. And it is from this place of power that I simply speak this word for and about this spiritual community right now, calling forth into our own awareness, into our own consciousness, that which is already the truth of God, that which is already the truth of this spiritual community, that everything is working together for our good. How grateful I am that we, in fact, are recognizing that we are at choice at each and every time, and that we recognize that we are one with this power and this presence, and so that as we indeed surrender to this truth, we become a little more enlightened. We begin to simply walk with a different pep in our step, that we begin to talk and speak with each other from this place of love, from this place of peace, from this place of joy, recognizing that the intent of each and every one of us is indeed to express the fullest and the highest most God that is within each and every one of us. How grateful I am for our body temples, that the health and the wholeness that God is, we are. That every organ, every action, every function of our body temple is saying yes to life and to life more abundantly. How grateful I am to know the eternal nature of our life, and that we have all paused here in this human expression to experience this human incarnation of our spiritual eternal life. This is good stuff. I'm grateful that we simply lay down and we allow to simply release into the nothingness that which is a smaller vibration of the truth of who we are. And that we are indeed at this vibration that is lifting us up, that is lifting the planet up, that is really calling us forth to see our oneness, to live in our oneness, to enjoy our oneness, to enjoy the truth. How grateful I am at the variety and the difference, the beauty of how each of us express. That each of us are an unrepeatable expression of the Most High. That no two people are exactly the same. And how wonderful it is that this is the truth, that we have an opportunity to see all the beauty and all the divinity in God's creation. I give thanks that we have the mind of God right where we are, that we are tapped in, and that at any point in time that we can pause and simply ask, what is for the highest and best in this moment? And that we have the opportunity with our minds to discern that truth, to understand it, and to act upon it. How grateful indeed I am for the love that is present here, one amongst the other. And the love that has drawn in to this spiritual community, the love and the light that is known as Reverend Steve Rambo. What a gift. That your consciousness is so elevated to draw in such a light, and that his consciousness is so elevated that he has been drawn to this spiritual community, that together, in unison, in harmony, in love, that together, the Centers for Spiritual Living, Simi Valley, is lifted and lifts the vibration of this planet. Oh, what a gift. What a gift indeed. And so recognizing this gift and recognizing the truth of all of who we are, I simply give thanks. I am in deep appreciation for this opportunity to pray, for this opportunity to know the truth about my life and about each and every life here, each and every life live streaming, each and every life that is sleeping right now or on another different part of the world. How grateful I am to know that all life is God. And so knowing this truth and celebrating this truth, I just released this word. I'm not going to make it happen. There is a law that is already in effect. It says that as we let it go, as we speak it forth and let it go, that then it becomes made manifest. So we say yes to its manifestation and joyfully expect to cash that check and experience all the goodness and the glory that is God's life as us. I release my word now. It is done in the mind of God, and it is being made done now in our human experience. So for this and so much more, I remain grateful. And together we say, and so it is. And so it shall be.